So this is part 2 of the greenhouse and how I built it. Hopefully you watched the first part to figure out how to get the windows and the frame up and get that shell. This one's going to get into the electricity, the heating, the ventilation, things like that. What I consider a safety measures to ensure that I get a couple warnings for temperature and humidity if they're too high or too low. So yeah, you'll even get to see a mistake I made. I didn't know it was a mistake when I was going through with the venting, but I found out later on when I was doing the gables that I put the intake in the wrong place. So you'll see why I did what I did, and you'll also see how I fixed the issue. So watch on through and enjoy. Thank you. So another detail to talk about, I'll call it the most stunning parts of the greenhouse is, of course, the mosaics, the faith, love, and hope mosaic windows that we did. Once again, kind of an afterthought. I did the framing for this sliding door. Once again, sliding door, believe it or not, was completely free off of, I believe it was Facebook Marketplace. Somebody just wanted to get rid of it. They were doing a remodel to their house. They said, come and pick it up, and that's what I did. So yes, you are able to find stuff like that on Craigslist for free or Facebook Marketplace. But back to the framing, I framed in the sliding door as I believe anybody would. Put in your typical king stud and your jack stud and put your header across. So now knowing that Rochelle wanted to put these there instead of just filling those in with plywood, I would have put the header here on the top and then put the windows there down below. So just little tweaks I would have done. Wish I would have known I was going to put up mosaics and Rochelle was going to make them. But we kind of went as we went along, we figured it out. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to encourage all of you to do is you can take this literally one step at a time, and your plans can change here and there. Yeah, the plan for this header, that's not moving. But the plywood that I was going to put there, that turned into a mosaic, and like I said, I think it's the most stunning and best parts or the best looking parts of the greenhouse. So another common question that I've been getting is, how much did it cost? How much did it cost? We want to know, and perfectly fine, because if I was looking to make my own greenhouse, I'd want to know how much it cost. This is 2021, so if you're watching this in the future, who knows what the prices are going to be, but the foundation itself cost about $1,000. That's the rocks, the retaining walls, the concrete, all of that to cost about $1,000 just to start getting ready to put the wood in place, so to speak. We got most, not all, the wood for free, thanks to repurposing, and all of the windows for free, and both doors for free. Thank you, Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. And the roof itself, the polycarbonate, cost about $1,000 for this setup. We also went with a slightly upgrade on the polycarbonate, in my opinion. So it cost us a couple $100 extra than you would if you would with a typical polycarbonate. So you would probably be about $700-800 if you would just go with the typical polycarbonate. So all in all, my guess with the paint, the foundation, the extra pieces of wood that I bought, the polycarbonate, I'll get to the fans and everything else. My guess is we probably are at about $3,000 for this. But I'll put it this way: if I were to buy a 10 by 20 greenhouse, stock off the shelf, and possibly even me assemble it myself, I'm assuming it's going to be close to $6,000 or more. But if you don't have the time, you don't want to run around getting windows and using up your garage for storage of windows, and you don't want to paint on your weekends, that's probably the plan for you. But if you don't mind putting in the work and have a couple months to put towards this here and there, then this might be for you. Also keep in mind, if you do a smaller greenhouse, you're going to have less work. So if you're not doing a 10 by 20 greenhouse and you're doing 10 by 10 or 10 by 5, you're going to have a lot less work and a lot less time towards it. So, but also when you're talking money, that's buying the actual greenhouse will be a lot less money. So everything's relative. But yeah, that's generally the answer to the question. Is somewhere, my guess is around $3,000 for everything for the shell. We still do not have shelves, things like that in place. So my guess is that's going to be a couple $100 more for those shelves when it's all said and done. That's where we're at with it. So I hope that answers your question with the cost. All right, so let's get into the electrical and venting. So as you can see just on the outside, my extension cord. That's right, it comes in, it goes underneath the 4x4, and that will get used to plug in to what I'm referring to as the Inkbird. The Inkbird has 2 outlets, one for cooling and one for heating. The Inkbird is a thermometer, essentially, kind of like a thermostat, where it knows the current temperature, it knows the range that you want to use it at, and it will heat or cool accordingly. And how it does that is it'll power only the heating or only the cooling outlet, and you plug in your electric heater or your electric air conditioner, whatever you got to do, or your fans to get this thing going, to get it cooled. I assume you don't want to do air conditioners, but if that's what you want to do, have at it. Also, I obviously know that having electrical cords outside run in underneath the 4x4 to this is not the code. This is temporary, just to get us up and running for now. I will have this when everything thaws out. It will be good to go. I'll have a nice underground run put in, but this is temporary for this year. Other thing that we have, actually going back to the Inkbird, that's Wi-Fi. So I can control that from my cell phone, which I think is really cool. It'll give me warnings if things gets too hot or too cold, and it will let me program it, the temperatures that I want, depending on what I put in through the app. That Govee there, that white thing, it takes the temperature and it takes the humidity, and that will also give me warnings on my cell phone because it's all Wi-Fi. So I kind of have a redundant system because I'm weary about having just a one fail system where if my Inkbird goes bad for whatever reason, or unplugs, whatever you wish to call it, and that's not working, at least my Govee will be able to tell me, and Rochelle and I hopefully get out there. With the Inkbird, when I want it to cool, eventually I'll plug into the cooling the vent fan, and the vent fan will run automatically depending on the temperature of the Inkbird. So I think that's pretty cool, so I should hopefully not have to worry about it. And then the fan speed is controlled by right there as well, so I can turn it higher or lower depending on what I want to do. So this fan, it actually pushes air out. Intuitively, you would think that the fan would be pushing air into the greenhouse, but it's actually going to push air out. So I had to correct Rochelle just a little bit on our last video. And on the opposite side, you'll see the vent that it's going to take the air in. And this will allow the air to come in. Let me get in here. And it'll come up, those will open up, that'll let the air inward. As that gets turned on and lets the air out. So one thing about the vent I wanted to talk about is it's a typical vent, and it's made to actually have the air go the opposite way, actually come out. So that was something I had to work around because I don't want any mice or gnats or anything getting in through here. So I just use some hardware cloth, and then underneath that I just use regular screening for your screens for your regular windows in your house. So if you get inside, you'll see the louvers here. They go up and down like that, and that's why typically it would go the other way, as in the air would be going out in that direction. If the air is going out in that direction, nothing's going to be able to come in and push. But since you have it this way, a mouse or anything can just easily push on these from the outside and come on in. All right, so when I was designing or had ideas in my head for the ventilation system, the idea was to have the fan in the top where it currently is and the vent in the top in the gable where it is not. I found out through the research, kind of like I said, I plan one step at a time with this. First the foundation, then the walls, then the roof, then the polycarbonate. I probably should have in the walls looked a little bit forward and saw the vent for the intake of the air comes in lower to the ground. The reason why the exhaust fan for going out is in the top and coming in for the vent in is in the bottom is because during the summer you're going to want the hot air that's up high in your greenhouse, you're going to want that to get out first, and then you're going to want, if there's any cooler air, to come in from the outside and come in through the bottom, so that cooler air will stay at the bottom and then it'll slowly make its way up and out as it potentially heats and gets out the vent in the top. So that's why you're going to want to have the vent on the bottom and the fan up in the top. Another reason is if you had them both up top, which was honestly my original plan, you're not going to get any essentially cross breeze for anything down below, and you're not going to get the airflow underneath. You're just going to have a straight shot from your vent to your fan, and you're not going to get anything in the middle really moving. So that's why you're going to want opposites. I've heard that there's some people that have one set up for the summer and one set up for the winter. We're going to try and see what we have now, see if that works, and if it doesn't, then we'll see if we can adapt a little bit so we can change things up. But that's why you'll generally see the exhaust fan up high in the greenhouse and the intakes down low. So now that I pretty much talked about everything currently that's going on in the greenhouse and what I did, a couple future plans. The biggest one is heating. Rochelle touched on this in her last video, how we're planning to get a ventless propane heater. About 20 feet from the greenhouse is our propane tank for the house. It's 500 gallons, so there'll be plenty of propane to use. And it'll be much more efficient than electricity. So if we can get that in here, that'll have a temperature setting on it, so we can just essentially set it and forget it. So that's the plan there. But for heating this year, we're likely to just use a contained oil electric heater. So electric heater with oil in it, because we already have one of those. And we'll just plug that into the Inkbird that I showed you before and let it go. And hopefully that'll be enough for what we're doing here. And the other thing that we're planning to do is the electricity. The electricity I did not want to do permanently yet. Rochelle and I really don't know what we want to do on the inside of here. Rochelle has some ideas for shelving, so I didn't want to set up a permanent solution for her on the electric side. I didn't want to put up too many lights. I'm sure they're coming. But I didn't want to put up lights. I didn't want to put up too much permanent things for electricity because we don't know what we want. Eventually, I'll put the underground piping for the electric, the underground piping for the propane. That'll come in, and we'll do it right. But yeah, that's generally my part of the greenhouse. You're gonna see Rochelle in this a lot because this is where she's gonna essentially live during the early spring. I see her in here a lot, hence why we built such a big greenhouse, because I knew she was going to be in here a lot and I knew she's going to enjoy it. So that's why we have what we have and why we went the way we did. I do have to give Rochelle I'd say 99% credit on all of the painting that you see in the greenhouse. The light green that's used for the windows and the white for the 2x4 studs, lumber. She did probably 99% of that painting. I don't even think I touched the green painting for the windows. And she did 100% of the scraping, maybe 99%. I think I showed her how to do it, and she just went off and did it. I think I did the roof rafters, and that was the majority of it. Believe it or not, the kids did help. They did their first coating of a lot of the 2x4s down at their height. But in the end, Rochelle was the one with the paint on jeans and t-shirts, and she probably went through about 3 pairs of jeans and 3 pairs of shirts. Yeah, I might have done the structure, but without her and the kids, with the rocks and the painting, this would not be done right now as it is. And honestly, anything aesthetically pleasing looking, you can almost guarantee that was not me. I'm just here to put it up and make it functional. She was the one who definitely wanted to paint it right away and get it looking nice. So I hope I answered the what's the plans question, because Rochelle, I think every other day comes to me telling me, yeah, somebody else wants the plans for this. And I kind of laugh and go, my plans aren't going to help anybody else. They're my plans for this custom greenhouse. My ideas and how I went forward are going to help you so much more than knowing my plans. So hopefully knowing my thought process and how I went through it will help you with your thought process and help you get a greenhouse of your own. I think I answered all the questions that at least Rochelle told me were on social media. I'm not at all, for the most part, on social media. The only time I'm on social media is on Facebook Marketplace to get free windows. But luckily, in my area, everybody, I'm not looking for windows anymore, so there'll be plenty out there for you to get. So everybody else, there'll be a free for all. So I hope this helps you determine, decide, maybe even go forward with building your own custom greenhouse, because this greenhouse is literally one of a kind. There is not going to be a single one like it anywhere else. I don't even know if you could even attempt to try and build this the same way that we built it. You're just not going to find the windows because I had them all. So I really hope this encourages you, makes you understand my thought process to hopefully get you understanding. If I gave you the plans straight out and didn't give you an explanation of what I did, you'd never get to the point where you want to get to, because you're not going to build this greenhouse, you're going to build your greenhouse. So I hope that helped. And I really hope that if you go forward with it, I do wish you the best of luck. While at the same time, I do want to say thank you to everybody who's been encouraging, positive, you name it. Rochelle posted a clip, not a clip, a post of what we've been doing in a greenhouse Facebook forum or group. And she's gotten like well past 1,000, I think well past 1,500 likes on this thing. So it really puts a smile on my face to see that so many people are out there and positive and encouraging. So thank you. I hope this helps, and have a good one. Bye.